Hey, it's all about quality, not about quantity. Right? Let's get back to another round of Brewsday Tuesday with DreZ and Big Nate.
It's been a while since I used the bottle opener underneath this this bad boy.
I'm not gonna lie, it looks so badass when you do it, though.
Pretty sweet. I remember why. It's because I usually grab the Cellar Restaurant and Six-Pack Store glass, which is our sponsor, by the way, but I guess I clearly forgot to do that this time, so sorry. Sorry to our sponsor. You don't get the plug on the video, which, by the way, you can watch us drink beer and eat pretzels if you're on Facebook. We're doing the Facebook Live thing. Or also, we post the video on the YouTube. You can subscribe to us on there. Of course, you can catch past Brewsday Tuesdays. It's wherever you get your podcast, right?
Everywhere, as far as I know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really do the podcast thing much, but I know that we're on there somewhere.
So yeah, every month or so when I'm going through my web reports and tracking everything, I find that, here's a new podcast directory you can submit to. So I submit as soon as I possibly can, but there are some out there like we're on Deezer, whatever Deezer is, that's a thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Deezer sounds like the next cast member of Rover's Morning Glory.
I was going to say, it is a little bit reminiscent of good old Dieter up there. But so we are still celebrating National Pretzel Day. Nate was kind enough to make us some delicious pretzels. And I was kind enough to go out and get beers that I thought would be appropriate to pair with them. Now, the first round, it was easy. Those Captain Lawrence Snyder's collaborations, because they're actual, like, Snyder pretzel beer. Then I had to kind of think outside the box a little bit more, and it got to be a little trickier. So we'll start with yours, actually. So I go to the cellar and ask Mikey, and I tell him, hey, this past weekend I was like, hey, we're doing this pretzel show. Obviously, the Snyder beer, and I already knew that, already had that in my hand, ready to buy. And then he was just like, all right, well, outside of that, he's like, maybe like a Bavarian or like something sea salted or something. And then he grabbed, which I guess it's in my mind, it still works. I think that, honestly, out of all of them, I bet that will pair the nicest.
Oh, I'm excited to see. It's the Keep It Crunchy granola stout from Ommegang from their OMG series. And it's a 6.5% ABV. But what's most compelling about it, because we were talking about during the first segment, dipping sauces and different flavors of pretzels. Well, the natural flavors in this just blow my mind. I think it'll pair perfectly with the pretzel because it's got cranberry, cocoa nibs, oats, honey, pecan flavoring, vanilla. And so I'm excited to see how this goes. And, of course, you also go to the classic trail mix ingredients. Those are all on here except for pretzels.
Right.
Which, to me, is prime ingredient with trail mix.
It definitely belongs in there.
Can you imagine... I always go to, I know it's not trail mix, but for my snack mix, everything has to have pretzels. Bold Chex Mix, one of my favorite snacks of all time. The pretzels will be the first thing to go. Same thing for trail mix. Like, it's just being adjacent to all those flavors. I don't know.
It's funny you mentioned Chex Mix because I just had this discussion over the weekend. Have you ever made Chex Mix at home? Like the actual, like grandma used to make it? Like I've always had, and I can't remember who does it, but every now and then you get the homemade Chex Mix, and it's always so much better than the store-bought, the bag of the actual brand,
Yeah, no, my grandma makes it anytime we go back to visit her.
So here's the question.
And hers is phenomenal. Now, I've tried to make it and it never comes out right, so I don't know what she's doing. What
does she put all in there? Obviously.
Peanuts, Chex, pretzels, she doesn't do the bagel chips. She does.
Those are hard to find. You get those in the store-bought stuff, and same with the little crinkle little breadstick things, whatever those were. You're not going to really find those put in there.
She also throws rice Chex in there, which
I agree.
True Chex Mix doesn't have store-bought.
Rice and wheat, rice, wheat,
and
corn,
and
she do all three.
Regular Chex. Yeah, so it's all three.
Well, regular Chex. What's regular Chex?
I don't know. Just the one that's like Chex original. So you got the wheat. I guess it's white.
There's corn and there's rice.
Corn.
Green
that's the one.
And blue. And then there's the wheat one.
Corn is... See, I don't buy Chex as a cereal. It always comes pre-mixed. But like I can never figure out exactly what she was doing. And she may have like some other things, but I know she doesn't have the bagel chips.
Mm-hmm.
peanuts were like the big key for hers.
So what I know, some people do like the Cheez-Its.
She doesn't do Cheez-Its, but that's the other thing. She does mini pretzel sticks instead of the
sticks, not the minis.
Yeah.
Okay. So pretzels, all 3 checks, nuts,
and she's been serving it out of the same container for I'm sure longer than I've been alive, but I can confirm factually, at least in my living memory, she's been serving it out of the same blue like Tupperware container that she got at like a Tupperware party.
So I've never attempted to make it, and we never made it as a family, in my house or anything, but I couldn't remember. I felt like, there's because the store-bought stuff, like you said, you got those little, what'd you call them? The crisp, the wafer. Bagel chips, which you're not going to have usually in your thing. They also have the little wavy. So I'm like, well, what do people replace them with? Nuts was one of them. The guy I was talking to, he says that his grandma or whoever was making it would actually throw Cheerios into the mix as well.
That's the other thing. She puts Cheerios in there.
Cheerios are in there? Okay. And I'm assuming just regular, classic, just Cheerios.
Although Honey Nut would probably be pretty good.
I mean, that's what I was thinking. I was like, if you're going Cheerios, you could really bring some flavor into this. But so then that's the next thing. So what about flavor-wise? Is it just what sort of seasoning? Is it just like salt, pepper,
Worcestershire,
Worcestershire, and butter? That's it.
As far as I know, I just stopped trying. Like there was a time period where I was making it in huge batches, just trying to replicate. I don't know, I never could. It's the same thing with like sausage gravy. My other grandmother made incredible sausage gravy. Can't make that either. Like I can get real close and I'll try for years and then I just give up. Mm. So, the secret's going to die with her, unfortunately.
It's never the same. So, we digress. I didn't even get to say what beer I popped. And while a lager may not be the best to pair with pretzels, although it probably would be pretty damn good, I would assume and think, I popped Hardywood's Fightin' Hokies Lager. I was really excited when this came out. Great collaboration. They got the old gobbler on there, which I don't know why they didn't just call it the Fighting Gobblers, but is it because they wanted it for people to know that didn't realize, or maybe is Gobblers? I would think Hokies is trademarked, so I can't imagine they had this. Either way, I picked this beer because my love and obsession for soft pretzels started with Hokie sports, specifically Hokie football. I would go to Tech games as a very, very young child, back well before I had any care of what was happening on the field or even had, frankly, any idea what was happening on the field. The way that I would be well behaved is I would be awarded and I would get a soft pretzel at the stadium. And I vividly remember being, 3, 4, one of those young ages, and just sitting down, nibbling on my pretzel, and everybody around me would stand up all at once, and they're cheering or doing this, and I would be sitting there with my pretzel, not knowing what's going on or caring, just happy as all hell that I got my little soft pretzel, and I'm chowing down on it and loving every bit of it. And of course, ever since then, I always get a soft pretzel at Tech games. Whether that's
Are you well behaved afterwards?
I try to. Probably not as well behaved as I was in the younger. But so that being said, I was pretty disappointed this past season. Or was it the year before when they started doing or it must have been this past season because the year before we weren't doing it. But, they actually, I don't know if you frequent the games, but they were doing all these things, it's touchless, contactless payment and whatever. And they made a more fan-friendly priced menu where like everything on it was just $2.50. You get $2.50 drinks, a hot dog, popcorn, whatever, stuff that was only $2.50. And I was very disappointed when the soft pretzel was not on that list and the soft pretzels were still like $4 or whatever. Then I come to find out over in Castle for the basketball season, they were on the price list at the $2.50. So now I can get that soft pretzel that I'm used to paying $4 or $5 for now just $2.50, which is exciting. But then they had to one-up it, man. Now they have an everything pretzel that comes with, you guessed it, beer cheese. And it's big and glorious and has everything on it. Of course, that one's like $6.
So, what if I told you the overhead, the actual cost to make those pretzels?
These nice ones that are well nicer than the ones I'd probably buy at the stadium?
Yeah, probably just gauging about a whole bag of flour. Well, I already had the flour because I keep it on hand. The most expensive part was probably the packet of yeast, which is like 25 cents. So all in all, for a batch that got 8 pretzels out of it, probably $1.
Oh, man. Well, when you put it that way, that $2.50 pretzel doesn't seem like such a good deal anymore.
But the everything does intrigue me.
Yeah, I didn't get one of those.
Is it like the everything seasoning with like the poppy seeds?
Yeah, like an everything bagel
seeds?
kind of deal, I guess. I don't know. I didn't get one, but
I bet that'd be delicious.
it looked pretty damn good. I'm not going to lie. And it looked big and glorious and delicious, but I'm saving that for a football game because it's a football thing for me. That's why when you were alluding to earlier, like, yeah, we'd go out anytime I'm out and there's soft pretzels on the menu, it's hard for me not to get them. Because it's always just a solid appetizer. Like you said, at breweries too, I love it. And so much so, I know we're not eating them or whatever, but these are in my desk pretty much regularly. I like the honey wheat twists from Snyder's. They're delicious, man.
So I keep the screw-on container of the Snyder's sourdough ones in my office.
The sourdough is pretty good too.
That was my son, Harper, his very first snack food was the sourdough pretzels, and I was like, man, I'm sure it's great for teething, but that can't be good for when your teeth actually poke through.
yeah, probably not. Yeah, and of course also the little, you can get the sourdough kind of like pretzel nuggets. I don't know what do they call those again? Is it nuggets? Nubs? I don't even know. I want to say
I think nuggets, but that could be one of those Mandela effect things. But in my head, I see nuggets.
It makes sense to call it a nugget.
And they've got all those weird there's the honey mustard and onion. You could have just done honey mustard. Why'd you have to throw onion in there?
Yeah, they do have some funny flavors, and honestly, I'm sure some of them are okay. And then you also get the combos where they just shove flavoring into the pretzel. I was never a huge fan of those, honestly.
There was
got the pizza ones, and
there was a period where I wanted to be really into those because they seemed so convenient and they were cheap. But dehydrated cheese freaks me out.
Yeah. Yep. Not the best. We digress once again. So yeah,
pretzels will do that to you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So the Hokie Lager, the Fighting Hokies Lager from Hardywood. I've had this many a times before, maybe even on the show before. I can't quite recall, but I think actually, I think I had it on the air at the first tailgate when they had this because I was specifically waiting for a Tech game to try it. So that might have been actually the first time I had it on there. It might not have been Brewsday Tuesday, but it's a pretty solid beer. I'm not a huge fan of just basic lagers. I mean, this is what that is, and it does pair well, the Hokies with the pretzels, so it is decent, but not in love with the beer. I'd say it's an easy 3.5. You got to round it 3.75 because you got to give the Hokie vibe a little bit of credit to it too.
So,
of course, if I'm having this while I'm tailgating, it's a 5. I'm sure.
Well, there's that, but comparing it to other lagers that you've had, because that's
mediocre.
The caveat I always give whenever I have that one. Yeah, for me, I mean, I can confidently tell you my rating on that's always a 3.
Yeah,
and I'm hard pressed for lagers to give much higher than that, just because everyone makes a lager.
Mm-hmm.
No one does it fantastically, phenomenally. I've not run into one that's a 5 yet, but I'm not here to talk about your beer. This Keep It Crunchy granola stout from Ommegang or Ommegang. I hope that they respond and let me know exactly how it's pronounced. They're a granola stout. And this could be the pretzel talking. This could be the 6.5% ABV. But this is a phenomenal granola stout. I'm really enjoying it. I think it paired really well with the pretzel. I mean, the pretzel's already gone, and I still got beer left, so I got to figure out and navigate that. But I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4.5. I think it would be a 4.25, but they've got their cool logo or label dedicated to being outside and enjoying the open air, which is what Keeping It Crunchy is all about. You got a kayaker, a hiker, and all these toadstools. Yeah, 4.5. I think is a fair rating for the Keep It Crunchy.
I had a feeling that might have been the standout beer of the day. And whether it pairs with the pretzel or not, I figured that one was going to be good. So I'm looking forward to trying that here shortly. Nate, as always, I appreciate you coming in. I especially appreciate you making these pretzels. And I also know that it didn't break the bank. So now I'm not. I still appreciate the time and effort.
I gotta earn my keep.
When you add in the time that it probably took to make those pretzels, I'd say we're about even with the beer and the pretzel GM. So next week, I guess we'll have to discuss, because I know we threw out a couple options.
Yep.
I don't know if we landed on which one we're going to do, but we're probably going to drink beer, I would imagine, next week.
I think that's a fair assumption.
I think that's a damn good assumption. We'll take a quick break. We'll get back with the tunes. It's right here, 105.3 The Bear. Stick around.